authored your latest book called Shades of Truth. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
A very interesting idea. In it, you say the Mahagathbandhan is not a possibility.
I thought you were going to talk about people's issues.
I will, I'll get there.
You straight away jump to politics. You see, let's talk of people's issues today because, you know, Mirror now is talking about people's issues. Okay. And Mirror stands for mirroring the reality of India. So let's talk about that. You can talk about my book, there's no issue. Well, let's talk about the reality of India.
Okay. We have now a fundamental right to privacy.
Right.
That the Supreme Court has given us. What does that mean? Does this mean that nobody's going to tap into my phone, nobody's going to read my data, that companies will not have access, the income tax department will not have access? Do we know what the fundamental right to privacy means?
No, I think we know what the judgment says. But the right to privacy has to be understood by the person who invades that right. Right? Who is the one who invades that right? The income tax officer who comes to your house, excise person who goes to an industry, the ED officer who comes to your house, or the CBI who comes to your house. And in every raid you will find that they will rummage through your clothes, the most intimate clothes in the house. They will rummage, they'll seize the mobile phone. They will seize the computers, they will take away the hard disk. They look at everything that's in the house. So where's the right to privacy? It's all very well for the Supreme Court to render a judgment that there is something called the right to privacy. Just as everything else in this country, policy is one thing, and the reality on the ground is quite another. So unless we actually set out the contours of the right to privacy, merely enunciating it as a fundamental right in a judgment of a court is going to have no value.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What is an urban Naxal?
A Naxalite who lives in an urban area. What else?
But they have been
so now you have to figure out who is a Naxalite.
Who's the Naxalite?
That's right. No, that's the million-dollar question. It depends on the eyes of the beholder.
Okay.
In my eyes, your eyes, I may be a Naxalite. In my eyes, I may be a passionate patriot. And ultimately, the court decides what is what.
Well, there were some arrests that happened of 5 activists, and a lot of people said that this was an infringement on rights. They were called urban Naxals. Now, when someone gets arrested, it's no longer a question of how you look at it. It's not the eyes of the beholder anymore.
No, it is.
How?
It is. Remember this. When somebody is arrested, who arrests him? The policeman. What does he arrest him for? Based on what he has gathered. What has he gathered? How has he gathered? Who asked him to gather?
Yes.
What was the objective of gathering? Remember this. See, in the liberal countries of the world, investigation takes place before arrest. In our country, and that's part of the colonial regime that we have inherited, investigation takes place after arrest. That's a big conundrum, and that's a big issue in our country. Because you get hold of a man, you slap him around, ask him to write a statement, then tell the court, look, he himself said this to me. This is the evidence against him, right? And the court says, so that's what I mean with the eyes of the beholder.
Okay.
The beholder can do anything because I am under his control. So I'm afraid that the system of the process of investigation in this country is so seriously flawed that, in fact, it has very dangerous implications for the law and for the justice delivery system.
We had judges who held a press conference from the Supreme Court earlier this year. Do you believe, as a legal mind, that those problems have been sorted out, or do you believe that we're still in a crisis situation?
Problems anywhere in the world, including your channel, will never be sorted out. See, problems
so
can never.
In business, yes.
Have problems been sorted out over years, thousands and thousands of years of civilization moving forward? One of your colleagues said that, you said that, I hope one day that we don't have to tell a story, but that day will never come, right? Because there'll be a new story to tell tomorrow, no matter what you do, because the aspirational nature of a human being is such that he never gets satisfied. He wants a better tomorrow, and that better tomorrow never comes, whether it's the United States of America, or it's India, or it's China, or it's anywhere else. So that story will, all that we hope in this world, that fake news doesn't take over Faye news.
I hope so too. But the whole point of having Faye news is that you know which one to trust.
That's exactly right.
Well, you are preparing for an election. There's a few months to come. I want to understand from this point of view, there are obviously basic problems we have in this country right now. And I want to understand from the Congress point of view, what are the solutions you're offering? So when we talk about farmer issues, we talk about the issues of fuel prices, when we talk about the issues of privacy, of safety for women, what are your solutions?
Let me be honest with you. In a country of 1.3 billion people, which is more than the population of Europe and the United States of America put together, if you ask me, is there a solution to this problem? If I'm honest, I won't be able to give you an answer. Because the problems are so complex, so very complex. No one policy is such that it fits all the possible scenarios. Take, for example, education.
So if we looked at farmers, for example, the Swaminathan Committee report has been available, but nobody used it.
Take farmers. The nature of the monsoon is such, right, that it will rain in some parts of the country, it won't rain in other parts of the country. That's the nature of monsoon. The nature of the fertile soil is such that some soil is fertile, some soil is not fertile. The nature of the nature of the soils are different all over the country. Then there is entrepreneurship, right? There are some very hard-working farmers. There are some who are only tenant farmers. There are some who are labor. The extent of farmland in this country on an average is less than 1 hectare, right? So most of the agriculturalists in this country are marginal farmers, right? They live from hand to mouth. So it's difficult for us to organize millions of farmers in a way that each one is prosperous. You can have a policy framework.
Hasn't the Congress repeatedly criticized the current government for not stopping farmer suicides, for not being able to solve their problems?
We will criticize because that's an endemic problem. We will criticize. That's an endemic problem. The question is, how are you dealing with the agricultural sector? Merely cost plus 50%, though that was forgotten for 4.5 years, suddenly the Prime Minister realized that it's something that I had promised and I should be done, and I congratulate him for it. That's not going to solve the problem. Because,
what is?
I'll tell you, a simple thing. The granaries, the FDI's go-downs are completely full at the moment. Now, if you take the wheat production from the farmers, right, where will you keep it? The granaries are full. And if you take it at a price which is much more than the market price, that impacts our economy. And in not more than 4 or 5 states is there procurement happening. Other states, there is no procurement. How are you going to procure items in which you have said we'll procure them when the market conditions are such that we won't be able to procure them at those prices?
To be fair, Mr. Sibal, so all of the things that
then technology.
Yes.
The issue of technology. How do you deal with reach technology to people?
So these
are all very complex.
Yes.
Therefore, it's in answer to your question. Do you have any firm solution for everything? The honest answer is no. But we need to have, all of us have a roadmap, because these are people's issues. These are not issues relating to Congress or BJP. These are people's issues. And we need some thinking by political parties as to how to deal with these issues. And we should have a common platform, like technology. Technology is a great deliverer. Why can't we have technology? Now, technology requires a fiber optic network to be connected to each Gram Panchayat. Right? Now, we should all get together to have that fiber optic network laid down. Right? Now, this should be a common platform. There's no need to have a tutu mem on it. Why has that not been done? We should support it. The government should support it. the delivery mechanism should be put in place. Once you have that technology network on the ground, a lot can be done. For the farmer, we can reach him information very quickly. Now we have systems through which, and that's what is called geospatial technology. Now I'm talking to you about solutions.
Yes.
Geospatial technology, we can actually assess the quality of the soil in every village. We can find out as to how much moisture is required.
Right.
If the field gets dry, we can actually tell the farmer that you need to water your crop. All that can be done, but the basic infrastructure is not put in place. And everybody is saying cost plus 50, cost plus 50.
No, but couldn't you have put the basic infrastructure in place 10 years ago?
Yes, we did. I started this whole program. This whole geospatial technology that I'm talking about, I started it. What he talks about now, these soil cards, I started it.
So,
the fiber optic network, I started it. We got 20,000 crores from the government, but nobody will talk about it.
okay, so here's my question to you. You said that there's no one-stop solution, even for the things that you're currently criticizing the government about. So how do we know who to vote for in the next election if nobody is going to offer us solutions?
No, people will vote when somebody picks their pocket. People realize this guy has picked my pocket, and therefore I'm not going to vote for him. Right? If I'm a scooter wala and I own a scooter and I go to a petrol station and I have to pay 90 rupees for every liter of petrol, right? He's not going to ask the Congress party, should I vote for him or not? He'll know who to vote for.
So
therefore, people will know who to vote for.
So you think people will know who not to vote for?
Or not to vote or who to vote for. It depends. It all depends from place to place. In Bihar, it will be different. In Uttar Pradesh, it will be different. So and it will also be based on alliances. That's the other issue.
What's your solution then for the petrol prices?
What's my solution to the petrol prices? I think that we need to subsidize some of that. I don't mean to say in a very big way, but we need to subsidize it. I think the government needs to take a hit because people's salaries and people's earning capacity is limited. And if you start saddling them with these kind of onerous duties, which go into the taxing structure of 1 liter of petrol, which the government companies are earning, oil companies are earning a lot of money, I think that's a bit unfair.
Okay.
Like when the petrol price and the crude price was $145, we subsidized it. Right? And when it came down to $38, $39, it was still selling at 60 rupees.
Okay.
Right? So these are I think the government needs to be a little more sensitive. I don't want to play politics here, but I think government needs to be a little more sensitive.
All right. Mr. Sibal, I know you have to rush, but you've been kind with your time. Thank you so much for coming up on stage and chatting with us.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.